So what do you see as you look at the school district are some of the short-term challenges, the immediate challenges?
Well, one of the immediate challenges that I've been hearing about and trying to learn a bit more about is where we will end up with state aid. That's in the court of the legislature right now, as you know, and with Nebraska facing about $1 billion deficit, education is certainly an area that is being looked at by our state legislators. As I looked at the budget information, it looked to me like we receive around $70 million out of the $300+ million in state aid, and so that being affected could certainly, to what degree we don't know yet, but could impact Lincoln Public Schools greatly. So I know that's a big issue that will impact the budgeting this year. The other somewhat immediate issue, I think, is, and it's a good news, bad news situation, Lincoln Public Schools is continuing to grow and is projected to grow each year for the next 4 years at least, and so that, I think, causes issues around the buildings and the size and the classroom sizes and all of those things that accompany 1,000 more students coming into the public schools. I think the projection I looked at in the next 4 years was an additional 3,000 students.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So then, when you also look at challenges, what do you see are some of the long-term challenges for our school district?
I think one of the long-term challenges is that the students themselves are changing and the faces of Lincoln are changing. That is, again, very exciting, but it also brings some unique challenges. There are over 50 languages spoke in the Lincoln Public Schools. Our free and reduced lunch rate is over 40%. And we have increased diversity in our schools. Those can be, again, tremendous assets to Lincoln Public Schools, particularly the diversity and the multiculturalism, but it is figuring out how we best support students in those environments and help our educators who may not look like the children that they're serving and may not know a lot about their cultures.
So, when you see those challenges, what are some of your ideas in meeting them?
Well, I think one of the things that we should do as we hire new teachers is to look for individuals who have diversity in their backgrounds, who embrace multiculturalism, and who support that. And I think that Lincoln Public Schools does a good job with helping current staff to be knowledgeable about those areas. But I think as we add folks to the workforce, we should be looking for people that embrace diversity and multiculturalism. Aside from that, I think we need to learn to celebrate those issues and to not be nervous about talking about those issues and what they bring to our city. Families come in all different shapes and sizes and colors, and I think that we need to become very comfortable with that and learn about one another and one another's cultures.
And that the school board can serve as the supportive role for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to open the dialogue and the discussion and make it comfortable for people.
Yeah, I think that's very important. So, one of the things that is an important value here in Lincoln is a unified school district. What does a unified school district mean to you?
A unified school district to me means that we have common sets of goals and strategies and methods to reach those. I think that it's important that in any entity, whether it's a school district or a nonprofit organization or a business, that everyone knows where they're going and knows what the strategies are to get there. And so I think that's really one of the very most important things about a unified school district is how do we balance both autonomy within buildings and then having a common strategy in which to get to the common goals.
Do you think that a unified school district is a good thing for Lincoln or not?
To the degree that I know and understand the concept, I think so. Again, it's something that I think I need to learn more about and educate myself more about. But again, I think so at this point.
Oh, well, that's good. And you mentioned as one of the areas of concern for you was our non-graduation rate.
Mm-hmm.
And tied with that is student achievement.
Right.
So what are some of your ideas for improving student achievement?
Well, I think at the core of student achievement there are a couple of key issues. One of those are having excellent teachers. I read an interesting article in Newsweek, I think it was published in March of last year, and it talked about in schools where there is a high poverty rate, that having excellent teachers year after year will help students to achieve at the same level as students that are not affected by poverty, and it was regardless of family involvement.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It really highlighted for me the key issue of having excellent teachers for students at every level.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lincoln does have excellent teachers, but I think the role of the board is to help make sure that happens on a regular basis and that they're well supported.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a key. Another
Mm-hmm.
key, I think, has to do with family involvement, meaningful
Mm-hmm.
family involvement.
Mm-hmm.
We need for parents to attend parent-teacher conferences. We need for parents to feel comfortable in the building. We need for parents to be volunteering. We need them to be part of supporting teachers and part of their children's homework on a nightly basis. But I think we need to give parents tools to do that. It's not necessarily something we all come into this parenting game knowing how to do. I know my husband and I had to figure that out at home. How do we do that, and how do we best support our sons? And how do we engage with their schools? So I think that's a real important aspect. The other aspect, I believe, is that the community plays a vital role, whether it's a business or a nonprofit agency, or whether it's the retired neighbor down the street from the school. I think we all can have a connection to Lincoln Public Schools. One of the neat things I get to do through my work is I'm president of the Human Service Federation.
Oh, okay.
And the Human Service Federation is made up of over 125 agencies in Lincoln that come together on a monthly basis and talk about things going on in the community, and we learn from each other. And I look around that room and I think there's so many great agencies that are tied into the public schools, but there are more that could be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's true in the nonprofit sector, that's true in the business sector, that's true with retirees. We all have an investment in Lincoln Public Schools and need to figure out how to best bridge those relationships.
So you really embrace the concept of it takes a village to raise a child.
I do.
Well, it's a good thing. Pardon me. Well, when we talk about excellent teachers,
Mhm.
we usually have to talk about resources, because excellent teachers typically also want to have competitive salaries and benefits. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I think salaries and benefits are critical to attracting and keeping excellent teachers. I think it's one thing to bring somebody into a profession, but it's another thing to keep them. And so it's not only about attracting folks to the workforce, but it's about supporting and retaining them. So I think that's very important. That has to always be balanced with a total resource issue. Lincoln Public Schools, like many service-oriented organizations, most of the resources are utilized through salaries and benefits. And that's true of Lincoln Public Schools as it is of Cedars. So I think it's really important to focus on that, but it has to be done within a total look at the overall resources that are available and how to best make that happen.